Hi, my name is Matt Hames, and I'm the Associate Vice President for Digital and Social Strategy at 3 Enrollment Marketing. This is part 4 of a five-part series on the history of Google search. Before we get into it, let's talk a little bit about 3 Enrollment Marketing. 3 Enrollment Marketing is filled with passionate experts who live for getting results for our clients and partner institutions. Every day we wake up thinking about how to make it better for the people who we work with, for the institutions that we work with. We believe in the mission of higher education and getting access to higher education. Where I'm a first generation college student, and I am passionate about going to university and just learning. Learning is such a great thing. I love it so much. I don't know. I just love learning. And I'm so lucky to be at 3E to be able to go down the rabbit holes of Google search. So this is one of my favorite quotes of all time. This was said by John Wanamaker of Wanamaker Department Stores in the 1960s about advertising, right? If you have a billboard up somewhere and like half the people that drive by the billboard might not be interested in your things, especially if your billboard is for men's pants, for instance, then half the people driving by that billboard are not interested in buying men's pants. Makes sense, right? I rephrase that to talk about digital because we create so many digital presence, so many digital properties, so many different things. There's the .edu, there's the athletics.com, there's Facebook pages, there's Twitter feeds, X feeds, threads, there's TikToks, there's Snapchats, there's just a ton of different content. Back when I worked at Colgate University, we used to give the mayor of our dining hall on Foursquare a cake every month. There have been social platforms that we forget even existed, that, Friendster, MySpace. We had a MySpace page at Colgate University. Tumblr, like just these platforms that existed that where we had presence on, and just they still exist. They're still out there. MySpace is still out there. It's still possibly the greatest collection of live music. Anyway, moving on. On the first part of this, we talked about the .edu and how it was the first marketing platform that everybody had to have. Even if you were Joe's Pizza on the corner, you had to have a website. You didn't have to have any other marketing platform. It was the first one that you had to have. Higher ed got it. I'm not here to say that you shouldn't have a .edu. I'm not here to say that. I'm just telling you that it's the first marketing platform we had to have. So the .edu has evolved. It is the place where all the transactions happen. It is a very important place for enrollment. The next step was the rise of search engines. Search engines were the drivers. Yahoo used to drive traffic to a .edu. Alta Vista used to drive traffic to the .edu. When people started to learn that they were interested in an institution of higher education, they went to their favorite search engine and typed it in and found the .edu. Search engines organized the internet to make the websites that we built easier to find. Then along came the social web, and it changed how people search. It changed how people found content. Content started to get delivered to them. Instead of us going somewhere and searching for content, content started to be delivered to us. If you're exploring how the TikTok algorithm works right now, then you might be seeing many hundreds of thousands of views on some of your posts, especially about dorms. We have one partner that we work with who has millions of views on their TikToks. So delivery becomes going right to somebody's phone with these social platforms and not asking somebody to take a look. Today, we're going to talk about, as we round out Google search, tomorrow we're going to talk about what's next, but today we're going to talk about where we are right now in Google search. It is the piping of the internet. It is still the way that we find things when we search for things. So it is still a very, very important platform. Again, when I look through the data of when I look through the Google Analytics 4 data, I see that the number one or number two driver of new users to the .edu is organic search. Often direct is 1 or 2, and organic search is 1 or 2. Direct just means that they type it in. And a lot of direct traffic comes from mobile, because after you search once in mobile for a school, especially on Safari, the next time it offers up the .edu, which is then a direct, right? So that's a direct. That's most students search once, and then the next time they come back, it's often direct. So, and of course, they're not a new user anymore unless they come back 30 days later, or unless they have cookies turned off. So a lot of the data isn't perfect anymore. But anyway, let's talk about the Google SERP. And we're going to talk about the desktop version. But I want to just point out that the Google SERP is not responsive. Most .edus are responsive, meaning that they look good on a desktop, and then they shrink down onto a mobile phone. The Google SERP is a desktop version, and then a totally separate product on the mobile version. So on the mobile version, Wikipedia and images are first, and then the .edu. On the desktop version, Wikipedia is on the knowledge panel on the right-hand side, and the .edu is always first. So in a mobile search for your institution, your .edu is often not first. This is what it looks like. It's a lot, right? So when you look at this, it's a lot. There's a lot going on here, right? I just want to point out at the very, very bottom that that this is the University of Toronto. Outside of the US, in the US, the knowledge panel on that right-hand side. So when you see the knowledge panel on the right-hand side, which is this big thing right here, when you see that knowledge panel on the right-hand side, that is different. It's a different product outside of the US than inside the US. So outside of the US, institutions of higher education can put their social platforms inside the knowledge panel. Inside the US, we can't put our social platforms inside of that. There was a massive change in 2018. Google redid the SERP. So they redid this, what you're looking at here. And in 2020, they redid it in the US and India, only in those two places. So this is what the knowledge panel looks like in the rest of the world. Social platforms can be at the bottom. There's a little bit more control. Images are always at the very top in the knowledge panel. In the US version, images are sometimes at the top. It really kind of depends. It's here and there, but you can never put your social platforms inside of there. You can put content inside of there using business.google.com, but that's a whole other video. And I'm going to do another video on that down the road, which I think is a social platform that is really underutilized, especially in enrollment. Unless you've been to one of my roadmaps, then you know maybe what I'm saying. Anyway, getting off topic. Back to this. I ran the numbers in 2022, the last year of Universal Analytics, for all of the Universal Analytics properties that I had access to for institutions around the US. And I looked at the brand query search. So I looked at the search for the institution by name, Monsters University, for instance. So somebody typed in Monsters University into Google. I looked at all the people who did a brand query search in 2022 for every single of the institutions that we work with. And then I averaged out the click-through rate for all of those people. The click-through rate was 18.5%. So what that means is that 8 out of 10 people who type in the university, college or university by name, full name, so Monsters University, not Monsters, not Monsters spelled wrong with an apostrophe University, the full name spelled correctly, every single person who did that in 2022 for all of our partner institutions, the average click-through rate was 18.5%. The best click-through rate was 40%. The worst click-through rate was 6%, and that was an institution that had changed its name from college to university that day. So, or not that day, that year in 2022. So, anyway, name changes are hard on searches. Even at its best, that means that 6 out of 10 people who did a search for an institution by name did not click on the .edu at the very top, right? So they did not click at the very top. They clicked somewhere else on this. That's the search engine results page. At 3E, we like to call that your digital welcome center. So that's the welcome center to the newly aware. That's your digital welcome center to the newly aware. When other people are newly aware, maybe they come on campus and they go to the physical welcome center. When they're newly aware digitally, they type in your name into Google and they get your search engine results page, which is your digital welcome center. I've spent the last 5.5 years studying this and figuring this out, understanding where people click, why they're doing this, what Google is trying to do, what answers Google is trying to give you. The truth of the matter is that Google is trying to answer every single question at every point in the enrollment cycle. So there are some changes to it. There are some slight changes depending upon the time of the year in the enrollment cycle. But for the most part, this is what people see. They see the .edu at the very top. They see people also ask, which is what people who Google the school also ask. Is this a good school? Does it have D1 sports, etc.? There's a bunch of different questions that they ask. You can look on your own institution. Wikipedia, the first marketing tactic you didn't want to have. And then it depends what's next. So a bunch of different things are on this, enticing the person to not click on that .edu. That's where we're at right now in Google search. On this .edu, you see a bunch. If you scroll down, you'll probably see your main social platforms. You'll see LinkedIn on there. You might see YouTube on there. But this is where we're at. We're at a situation right now where it's kind of a mess. There's a lot. Somebody does a search for the institution by name on a mobile phone, and they don't even get delivered the .edu first. Somebody does a search for the institution by name on a desktop, and they get delivered a lot. Like, this is a lot. I know it's a tiny screenshot for you to see, but this is a lot. And it's confusing, and it's not super helpful to anybody. So anyway, tomorrow, we're going to talk about where we go next. So today was about the Google SERP. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the future of asking questions online. So we'll see you tomorrow to talk about this and sum up this whole series on Google search. Thanks for joining me, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.